There are so many port adventures that you can choose from on your Disney cruise. Today I'm going to tell you about one that I absolutely adored. Hello Disney Cruisers! I get a lot of questions about port adventures or excursions. Which ones that I prefer, if they would be good for children, if they're too time consuming. Recently, a longtime subscriber asked me about a certain port adventure. I've had it on my list to do a video about it, just haven't done it yet, so I thought now would be a great time to do it so you guys can see all the great things about this excursion. I think it is totally underrated. Before we begin talking about all the fabulousness of this excursion, go ahead and give me a thumbs up down below so I know that you're here. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I hope you like what you see and consider subscribing. The port adventure that I'm going to be talking about today happens in Jamaica. The port of Jamaica is gorgeous, so pretty, love it. It's like mountainous, beautiful waters. Even if you didn't have an excursion planned, you could still get off the ship and shop around for a little bit and then get right on. It's very convenient. The excursion is called the Brae Bamboo Rafting Excursion. I'm sure I'll be going back and forth between port adventure and excursion because like Disney calls them port adventures and like other cruise lines call them excursions. So anyway, same thing, port adventure, excursion, same thing. This excursion was quite an adventure for many reasons. There were times where I was super scared. There were times where I was super uncomfortable because it was awkward, but then there were times where it was just like majestic beauty all around and peacefulness. So we'll get into everything that I did. Let me start with the very beginning of the morning. It was a morning excursion. We had to be in the Walt Disney Theater around like the 7 o'clock hour. They get you together all as a group. You can get towels to take with you if you want. We did not take towels because we were not getting wet. We all got off the ship together. We walked through the like built up vendor area and then we all got into a fairly nice van. Like it wasn't a bus, but it wasn't like a 15-passenger van. Like it had bus seats, but it looked more like a van. We had a bus driver and then we also had a tour guide. She was the one who like talked to us. She stood up the whole time in the front of the bus, which I thought was crazy dangerous. As soon as we started driving, or even before that, she would talk to us and interact and she would tell us things. Once everybody was on that bus van thing though, like we left right away. As soon as you pull out of the little port area, you go into Falmouth and you were like in the city and that's like where everyone does their daily lives. Like there's stores, there's gas stations. It was all really interesting to see. One thing we didn't know was that it was like National Bend Down Day. Pretty sure that's what it was called. Basically, people go out and they just put all of their things they want to sell on the ground. And then if you want to buy them, you bend down and pick them up and purchase them. So all throughout the streets, like everywhere you look, there was just like stuff, like clothes, toys, appliances, wooden things, like just everywhere. And so like I did not know it was National Bend Down Day. So like I thought this is how they lived. Like I thought, this is so bad. But like I thought that was like where all their stuff was or something, or like they didn't have a house. I ended up telling my husband, I thought that like everyone like carried their stuff to these little places every day, sold what they could, and then took it all back to their house. Like that was their business. But I guess this is just like a one-day thing. So that's not how they live, but people were everywhere. In order for people to go look at everyone's things, they kept crossing the street, and like they didn't look. They were not looking. They were just like, they had their eye on the stuff they wanted to buy and they just walked in front of all the vehicles. So this was all going on around us. Well, then also our bus driver was a singer. I mean, he sang songs. Like he kind of could carry a tune, but he asked like who was celebrating a birthday and an anniversary. And so people like would raise their hand. There was probably like, I don't know, 40 of us, maybe not even, between 30 and 40 people on this excursion. So people raised their hands. So then he started singing happy birthday to them. And after his birthday song, he sang like a Jamaica song. Like, I don't know if they have like a Jamaican song, like a national song or something, or if it's something he made up, but it was like all about Jamaica and how much he loved his place that he lived. It was really nice.
Welcome everybody to this sunny, sunny land. This is sweet Jamaica and I want you to understand. It's the land of beauty and we're full of palm trees. Of course you're surrounded by the Caribbean Sea. You are welcome to Jamaica. We'll entertain you with all our love. And when you go back home, you can tell everyone you are welcome to Jamaica.
we started leaving the like downtown area, I guess, and started going off more towards the mountainous hill area. And so by doing this, we were going towards like people's houses. Almost everybody we saw was outside of their house. They would sit outside. They would stare at the bus as we went by. Like, I couldn't tell if they were like sad or annoyed, or if this is just like what they do all the time. I don't know. I couldn't tell. But like, everyone was outside in their yards. Like, nobody was in their houses. So we go up this road and we turn right to go to the place where we enter the river. Well, this road was so turny. Well, there's like no lines on the road. I don't even think there was a speed limit. I mean, our bus driver was going not fast, but he wasn't being like super cautious, and they were blind turns. So when you'd come around the turn on the mountain, you couldn't see if there was another car coming. And there was a couple times when we met with another car. We didn't crash, but there was a few times where like I flung forward because he had to slam on the brakes. And then one time we ended up passing, like, it was a van, a larger van. Well, like, we were stuck. Like, the van didn't want to move for us and we couldn't do anything. Like, we literally like sat there, I'm not kidding, 3, 4, 5 minutes, like waiting for this person to move. Like, no one was doing anything. We were just like stuck in the middle of the road, like with the two vehicles staring at each other. So that made me nervous. Well, then we finally get to the place where you enter the river. So this place is like a garden, I think. They had bathrooms. They offered you a beverage. I think it was some kind of fruit punch. Maybe you could have got it with alcohol. I don't know. I don't like fruit punch. I didn't drink it. I have no idea what it was. There was a person who was sitting there. He was like a one-man band. He had lots of instruments attached to him. He was older. He had a little cup out for tips. There was also like a little stand there where they like sold Jamaican merchandise. So they gave us like 15 or 20 minutes to like go to the restroom and like walk around and enjoy all the stuff that they had to offer. Like, we walked through the garden. It was a lot of like herbs and spices and marijuana, you know, everyday things. My husband and I were first in line. Don't know how that happened. The person who was like the tour guide lady on the bus, she was there the whole time, and then we walked with her down to where we got onto the bamboo rafts. The bamboo rafts, all the people, I think all of them were guys that like steer the rafts. It's a really long raft. Your captain of your little raft, like, that's his own raft. They make the rafts themselves. They last a few years and then he has to make a new one. And so like, this is his job. Like, he only gets paid out of tips. He has to make his raft if he wants to be there. They go in order. Like, they're like kind of work together, but they don't. If our group needed 20 rafts and there's 25 guys there, like the last 5 guys didn't get anybody in our group and they had to wait to see if anybody else would come to go down the river. Your captain helps you into your raft. The seats are like kind of a little above water level. So they're kind of like benches, but you are low. Like, I'm 5'9" and my husband is 6 foot, and we couldn't, like, you couldn't bend your legs. You almost had to like have them laying out in front of you, but bent sort of. It was kind of awkward, but it was okay. Because we were first in line, we left first, and what was really cool about that was that no one was in front of us. So as we were going down the river, we didn't see anything but river and nature. Whereas the people behind us, they could see all the rafts of the people who went in front of them. Being in the front, you did have an advantage, but when you got to the end of the river, you then had to wait for everybody. So that was kind of a disadvantage. While you're on the river, they show you lots of different types of plants. They'll talk to you a lot if you like engage in conversation. If you don't want to talk, they kind of try and leave you alone. Most of them have a Jamaican accent, so it's a little bit difficult to understand them. And they talk as they're like rowing, not facing you. So they're not looking right at you, so you have to really be paying attention. I felt bad because a couple times I kept having to say like, can you repeat that? What? Like, I would just stare, and then eventually they would realize I don't know what they're talking about, and they would just like turn back around. It's kind of awkward. There's this one tree that he took us by, and it very obviously looked like a pregnant lady. And so he said, what do you think that tree looks like? Everyone in the town talks about it. And so, I mean, it looked like a pregnant woman. And so I said, a pregnant lady. And my husband agreed, and he looked, and the captain looked, and he's like, yes, they do say that. But most of the time, if you take your head and you look upside down, it looks like, and then he said, I can't say what he said on this video, but it was a part of human anatomy that I do not own. That's what he said it looked like. But he like said the words, like crude words to explain it. And he said it like it was not inappropriate. And I wasn't sure if I was supposed to laugh or say like, ooh, gross, or yeah, you're right, it does look like that. So like, I didn't say anything for a while, and then he like was staring at us. So I was like, oh yeah, I see the pregnant lady. But it was like, I don't think you can say that stuff to people. It was kind of like he didn't know me. So I mentioned how they make their own rafts. They get tips. That's how they make their living. Well, they also, most of them, make little like things out of things that look like coconuts. But halfway down the river, they're like give you their little spiel, and they have a little garbage bag full of these little carved coconut things that they have, and they kind of like get you to want to buy one. They don't tell you how much it is. We did ask him how much, and he was like, oh, I don't know, the small ones go for $20, the larger ones for $45. But I didn't know how big one was that I was looking at. I really wanted one though. I think we gave him $30 or $40 for it. This is what we got. He had a lot of them carved. Oh, ooh, that echoes. Hello, hello. He had a lot of them carved. Like this says One Love on it. Like he carved all this out. Here's the back side. So you got to pick which one you wanted. Like they had different designs on them. And then it's hollow inside. It's all dried out. Why does it look like that? What is that? See that like black mark in there? What? Is that a ghost? What is that? Oh my gosh. I'm not crazy, right? You see that. So it's all dried out. But then also he said he can write whatever you want on it if you want him to carve something else in it. We didn't have him add anything to it, but on it he carved in and it said, rafting on the Brae River in Jamaica with Captain E. Sewell, 2017. So that's on there. And then also this is the top, like you cut out the top part. He cuts that off and then he puts a little flat part on the bottom, and it's a stand for it. Like I can't do it because I'm holding it, but so you can, like it sits on the bottom of my nightstand like that. So you get a little souvenir. I thought that was a good souvenir because it also like talked about like what we did. At the end of the river ride, it's about 45 minutes to an hour depending on how fast your captain decides to row you down the river. You don't get any type of food with this excursion. And on the way back, they go like a longer way to take you around more of Jamaica to see stuff. We ended up going on their like highway type road, and we went by one of their schools. There was an option to stop at a church to look at it. We wanted to get off, but when they asked if anybody wanted to get off, no one else said they wanted to, so we ended up not. We just took pictures from the bus. But that is something that's in the excursion, and it says that it's something they do. So I would have rather them not had said, does anybody want to get off? I wish they would have just said like, we're stopping here for 15 minutes. Those who want to get off can, those who want to stay on the bus can. Because we didn't end up getting to do something we wanted to do because we didn't want to make everyone else mad because they all wanted to go back to the ship. The excursion is super, super fun. Like I would even say it's like even romantic. Definitely comfortable for 2 adults to sit on the raft. I'm pretty sure that they let you do 2 adults and a small child on the raft. But if not, like if my kids went, we would have had to do one raft, like me and my oldest daughter, and the other raft would be my husband and my youngest daughter. Like you'd have to split up, but you could like go in one raft behind the other. And then some people who knew each other even had their captains like go down the river at the same time. So they were next to each other the whole time. Not dangerous, not scary, very relaxing. I absolutely loved it. This excursion usually stays open like until you get on the ship. It's not very popular, and I think it's just because there's other things like those who want to like walk up the falls. So maybe people just like do the things that they really know about. Maybe they don't research it enough to know, but I think this is a lovely excursion. We went in the morning. There was an afternoon one that left the ship around 12, but I like being back on the ship as soon as possible while still being able to enjoy stuff, and I thought maybe it wouldn't be as hot. But the weather was great. It is very covered by trees. Even if it's hot and sunny out, it's not like blasting in your face the whole time. You do want to bring cash to tip your bus driver and the tour guide lady. They all work together though, so you just like hand over money one time. You do want to bring cash to tip your captain who steers your bamboo raft. Go ahead and check out the videos that are popping up next to me right now. I will see you in my next video, and I am so glad that you are a part of our Disney Cruiser family. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye, cruisers.